Yeah, this is about our web series. We have started the web series in the this series initially started with new age entrepreneurship post COVID after the lockdown. It's in the month of April we have started the new age entrepreneurship, and in the month of May we came out with Atma Nirbhar Bharat in line with PM line of thought, our Honorable Prime Minister's line of thought. Then we have started Atma Nirbhar Bharat, and in continuation, the third web series we have done with Atma Nirbhar MSME. How do we start the MSMEs and what is the role of that? And the fourth, we have started with Atma Nirbhar Nagrik. What is the role of the citizen? So this is the fourth of its web series. And let me briefly introduce the mastermind behind this. The web series is Mr. Sri Madhusudan Junjunwala. You can see him in the screen, and he is the CEO of GSBS Private Limited. It is his no, motto is giving simple business solutions, and he has been an inspirer. And he is IITN Kharagpur, and in his past assignment, he has been a COO of the Videocon, and is currently founder and heading GSBS Private Limited in the capacity of CEO. And we the team from the Center for Skill Development, we have Mr. Sairam Pate, who heads the CSD plus activities in innovation and entrepreneurship activity, and myself, Dr. Rudra, have been chairing the CSD group of institutions. And this is about the brief about the organizations. And now I welcome Sri Madhusudan Junjunwala to take over the session and start the Atmanirbhar Nagrik, what is behind and what is the role of this one. Welcome to you, sir.
Thank you, Rudra.
Yes, you can, sir. And audience, any kind of a doubts, you can put it in the chat box. All you are kept in the mute mode. Anything you want to share, please chat in between. At the end of the session, your questions will be taken. You can go on, sir.
Okay, thank you. Very good afternoon to all of you. I'm really grateful to all the participants who have decided and attending this session on Atmanirbhar Bharat series on a Saturday afternoon. And as you have seen into the preview of our previous webinars, this I think is the fourth or the fifth one, if I'm not wrong. Let me just begin by telling you what the series is all about. Today, I think it is rather unnecessary to say that Atmanirbhar Bharat has become a prominent theme, not just across India. It has become a theme, objective, and also almost becoming a revolution across India. Is width, breadth, length, whatever you call. And the echoes of Atmanirbhar Bharat are being heard across the globe. Frankly speaking, the pandemic that is COVID-19, I think it is not only us, but whether the World Bank, IMF, WHO, social politicians, though when it began, they had a divergent and a different view, but all of them have come to a conclusion. It is going to change the life, the universe, and the society from here. And amid all this, the leader of this country has given a call that we should become Atmanirbhar. So, my dear friends, what is Atmanirbhar? We will come to Atmanirbhar Bharat later. And frankly speaking, I have been delving, thinking on this issue and a subject From the day it has been raised, popularized, and injected into our psyche by our Prime Minister, by our leader, the deeper I have thought, I have found my thinking to be inadequate. Initially, we started this series and we thought that in one of the webinars itself, we will cover the entire gamut of subject. But honestly speaking, we found we were just not ready and it was not possible to do justice to this subject. Atma Nirbhar Nagrik, Atma Nirbhar Bharat, Atma Nirbhar Samaj, Atma Nirbhar economy, they all are different aspects of the same proposed reality, which is bound to make this country a new India, Naya Bharat. A Naya Bharat starts with Atma Nirbhar Bharat and ends at Atma Nirbhar Nagrik. It starts at Atma Nirbhar Nagrik and ends at Atma Nirbhar Bharat. So when we are talking about a new India, Atma Nirbhar India, we are actually talking about economy, Samaj and Nagrik. They are no different. They are one and the same. Because if we look, then what are the pillars of this Atma Nirbhar Bharat? The pillars of this Atma Nirbhar Bharat. What are the bricks of this Atma Nirbhar Bharat? And what are the enablers of this Atma Nirbhar Bharat? My dear friends, in the history of this country, such kind of revolutionary imagination and a vision has been conceived for the first time, and we are trying to build a near new India from here. The pillars of this Atma Nirbhar Bharat are rural and migrant economy, are MSME, governance and security, public infrastructure and education. What are the enablers? The values, ethics, character of a citizen, technology, entrepreneurship, and then what are the bricks of this building? Atma Nirbhar Nagrik. So friends, an Atma Nirbhar Nagrik is basically a brick in the building that we can call a Naya Bharat, Atma Nirbhar Bharat. So as you have seen, a subject as vast, as deep, as important as Atma Nirbhar Bharat, it cannot be talked about in just one or two seminars or a webinar. It's actually a continuous process. It is a concept which has to be driven from top to every individual level if we really want to make this Atma Nirbhar Bharat a reality. Can you think of a building without a brick? And can you think a brick which is weak and will sustain and support a building? No. So a building is made of a foundation. A building is made of a brick. The walls and all of them have to be strong. The brick has to be strong. The enablers are the ingredients. And these ingredients go to make a brick. They go to make a wall like a cement and like all other additives. So you just understand that how important is an Atma Nirbhar Nagrik, a self-nirbhar Nagrik for a new India, new Bharat, becoming a reality. I will come to these themes subsequently as we move down and forward in our presentation. Building a Naya Bharat by making her Atma Nirbhar. Atmanirbharta is a mindset and should be a way of life. I think even before the Prime Minister or anybody would have told us, don't we want to become Atmanirbhar in our lives? Till the time we attain our adulthood, till the time we are at our home, we are Nirbhar on our parents. But when we move out in the world, we become and we try to basically win our own freedom. Then, similarly, in a world, what a state, an individual is to a country in the world is to the world. So every country has to be Atmanirbhar at the facility of being an interdependent. I have explained in my previous webinars, Atmanirbhar does not mean that we shun dependence. Atmanirbhar means recognition of interdependence. Atmanirbhar does not mean that we don't need anybody. Atmanirbhar means we need you and you need me. And that is how this goes on. So therefore, I think when we are talking about building an Atmanirbhar Bharat, we need to understand what it is, what are the challenges, how can overcome those challenges, what are the resources which are required, what we can do. And this is the way we work in our organization to approach any problem, any analysis. And our webinars have been a result of our continuous exercise that we conduct by asking ourselves 5 questions, 6 questions, 5W and 1H. What, where, why, who, how, when. And by developing 4 faculties: read, think, write, and communicate. This is what we practice because this helps us in finding answers to the most questions that we come across. My dear friends, once again, please remember, Atmanirbharta is a mindset and should be a way of life. If it has to be a way of life for an individual, why it cannot be and why it should not be a way of life for a nation? And that is what precisely has been identified and recognized by our leader. But when we go on to make Atmanirbhar Bharat, there are many challenges in our way. Most of these challenges you are aware. The challenges we have in this country, in the society, are far more complex and many as compared to the rest of the world. The challenges that we have are of the social nature, socio-economic nature, infrastructure nature, related to ego, education. I think if we look, perhaps there would hardly be any category of a challenge we as a nation and a society as an individual don't face. But then please understand, the way bricks make a building, an individual, a Nagrik makes a nation. The way a brick takes the load of the building, a Nagrik has to take the load of the problems of that nation and the society faces. A Nagrik has to be strong, he has to be brave, he has to be Atmanirbhar. At the same time, like the arrangement of bricks, one brick has to support and they hold each other. That is how the Nagrik and the Nagriks and the citizens, they have to work in tandem, they have to work together, they have to be bonded by the enablers like entrepreneurship, they have to be bonded by enablers like values, character, and everything. And then a plethora of complex problems such as communal divide, socioeconomic tension, divisive politics and political opportunism, natural calamities, hostile neighbor, intimidating China, dependence on China for economic inputs, recession, underperforming MSME sector, nepotism and corruption, weak infrastructure, outdated education system, they can be addressed. Government can give you basically a structure, but every Nagrik has to have his share of tackling and dealing with this challenge. And that is the challenge the Nagrik faces, that is the challenge our country faces. And therefore, how this can be addressed? You see, here I have just done a picturization of what a Nagrik looks like in a brick. Okay. So, an Atma Nirbhar Nagrik is a brick that goes in building the foundation and the walls of a society. And we are all, then to all the problem that I have spoken about in the previous slide, Atma Nirbhar Nagrik is a solution. How is a solution? Because he tackles and faces each of the problems through the help of a mindset. He breaks the barriers. He basically tries to become Atmanirbhar. He takes up a role as an entrepreneur. He has a grit and a determination, and also he has a character. So basically, here you are having a never give up attitude. You are into the throes of a problem, but then you don't give up. You basically strangulate the problem even though you are deep inside it, and at the same time, you build a character of your own. You develop your own individual capacity. You break all the shackles, all the chain. You do everything, and then you try to become Atmanirbhar. Atmanirbhar Bharat is a combination of Atmanirbhar Samaj, Atmanirbhar Nagrik, Atmanirbhar economy. Now, when we say, how does a Samaj become Atmanirbhar? Now we have to understand. When we say Atmanirbhar Bharat, we have to understand each one of them separately. Then let us start understanding by what is a society and how it can become Atmanirbhar. Now you see, a Samaj, a society, is basically a small portion of a nation. It could be at the state level, it could be at a city level, it could be at a village level, and how things work at that level. At that level, basically you have what you call an entrepreneurial system. Entrepreneurial revolution is required because this entrepreneurial revolution basically gives a lot of opportunity, great freedom and choices to individuals to become Atmanirbhar. How this is supported? You should have an education system. Education system that enables one individual to work an entrepreneur. How that happens? When you have a vibrant demography. Vibrant demography creates a demand. The demand helps the entrepreneurial system. Education gives the skills to an Atmanirbhar Nagrik to become, and then the guy, the individual has to have a confidence that, look, I want to serve my society, and hence that self-respect, thereby he wants to become an Atmanirbhar Nagrik. And therefore, how does this happen? Ultimately, technology plays its role. So technology today plays its role in education, it plays into entrepreneurship, it plays into servicing the demand of the people. So technology, education, entrepreneurial revolution, and demography, and Atmanirbhar Samman, they are basically the main constituents of Atmanirbhar Samaj. Then how about the economy? Economy, once again, it requires infrastructure, it requires system, it requires training, it requires technology. So you see, there were two aspects. Atmanirbhar Bharat, we talk about economy, we talk about, and they are just complementing to each other. And then finally, this Atmanirbhar Nagrik. Friends, ultimately it is the Atmanirbhar Nagrik who makes Atmanirbhar economy and Samaj a reality. And then what makes an Atmanirbhar Nagrik? His character, the sense of duties, his industry and his skills and his rights. Now you can understand that a combination of proper combination of these four aspects can make an individual an Atmanirbhar Nagrik who will in turn run and build an Atmanirbhar economy, Atmanirbhar Samaj. My dear friends, This is not a lecture. It is basically an exercise to trigger a thought process, because today we are by and large a society, an economy where our mentality and mindset has been that of a job seeker. And post pandemic COVID 19, you know, the complexity that we are facing, the challenges that we are facing. We need job creators. We need job creators. We need job creators. We need those who can create a job, not seek a job at whatever level. It could be at the rural level, and it is being talked about that the next round of economic revival in this country is going to take place from the non-metro cities at the village level, rural economy driven by agricultural demand, rural demand, healthcare, education, primary and basic education is going to drive and revive not only the Indian economy but the global economy. And this time, it is not going to be the economy of the old decades. All these sectors are going to be driven by technology. Technology is going to be a driver, what we call Industry 4.0. Technology is going to be a driver, as we will see in the subsequent slides when I'm talking about technology, what technology will drive. So basically, a Nagrik has to be a Nagrik who is fully equipped with his sense of duties, his skills, his character and rights. And when we say skills, his technical, personal skills have to be in complete equilibrium with each other. He has to be as tech savvy, as finance savvy, as knowledge savvy, and as work savvy, people savvy as possible. So basically, a Nagrik maybe 30, 40 years back, his need, his skills, his understanding of all the problems was one. Today is totally different. So Atma Nirbhar Nagrik itself is a challenge. Now, when we are talking about the Atma Nirbhar Nagrik, we are talking about the revival of this country. We are talking about rural transformation. We are talking about how the country is going to become Atmanirbhar. Then I think we have to understand the Atmanirbhar Nagrik, a citizen who aspires to become an entrepreneur. What are the opportunities for him today? Frankly speaking, I can tell you honestly, today there is no sector of economy where there is no opportunity. It's only a question of which is a priority today and what is going to be a priority tomorrow. This pandemic has taught us that we can't do a development which is futuristic at the cost of the basic development. Supply chain, agricultural abundance, proper adequate health infrastructure, ability to deal with pandemics and natural calamities, innovate and prepare for the future, plan for a planet with limited resources so that it can deal with the exploding population of future years. They are the challenges. The challenges in every sector of economy, whether it is aeronautics, whether it's agriculture, whether it is animation, chemicals, whatever name you give, I will show us few more. Design, fashion, all sectors of economy require application of technology, requires application of creativity, requires application of productive tools, requires basically a very creative thinking whereby we are able to create value in the economy and thereby creating a value for ourselves. So the broad sectors of economy where we have, and most of these opportunities will be in the form of micro, middle, small enterprises. In fact, the Atmanirbhar Nagrik will become Atmanirbhar not by seeking an employment, but by building an enterprise into these sectors. If you come across, if you go and study what government is planning, basically we are trying to plan self-reliance in every area, starting from electronics to computers to security and even defense for that matter. Today, the indigenization is happening, sound port substitution is happening practically every area. Energy being one of the most important things, because the maximum outgo this country loses is in the form of defense imports and also in the form of basically oil imports. So all these things, when they will be brought, there would be a huge explosion of entrepreneurial opportunity in the country, and thereby all the aspiring entrepreneurs who are individuals today will have at their level many and abundant opportunity to be an entrepreneur, to build the economy of the country, and thereby making themselves Atmanirbhar and society Atmanirbhar and the Samaj Atmanirbhar and the country Atmanirbhar. Here I want to talk about that out of these sectors, now you just see, these are the sectors which are a very broad definition. I mean, in fact, in these two slides, there are sectors which are immediately important, but they are not so important today. But they are important nevertheless, maybe on a span of 4 to 5 to 10 years. But if you see that the sectors that are computer vision is a technology, AI is a technology, automotive, you see, the point is here, if we see that the PM out of all these sectors has identified some focus areas. Now it's very, very important to look at these focus areas. Now most of these focus areas are important for a local economy, for a local self-reliance. Our metros are overloaded, as we have seen. We have seen from the migrant labor migration in recent months. We have seen that the kind of worsening situations that have been happening in this COVID were mainly the major metro cities. The infrastructure could not support, and therefore there was a huge migration of labor. So much so that the people, the industries are now suffering. And migrant labor is not having an immediate job. So today we are having the twin challenges. A, how a substitute for a labor can be found in the urban centers of technology and industry. B, how it can be done that the people who have migrated back to their hometowns, they get a job, they get an employment. The point is, in the industries, there will have to be automation. You will have to find out technology where you have more productivity, simpler technology using automation. And back home in villages, you have to have higher agricultural productivity. You cannot manage with low activity. So therefore, the agricultural aids for mechanization and boosting yield is one area which has been identified as an area of focus among all the broad sectors. We say that the Third World War possibly will be happening because of water. We waste so much of water. We have good rains, we have good monsoon, that's the gift of God, but we are not able to recharge our ground level water at the level they should be done. Most of this water is basically gets drained out. We are not able to store and recharge. So recycling wastewater from the household, cost-effective technologies for potable water, development of low water intensive seeds. So you see, agriculture and water management is one of the challenges and the areas which have been identified by the Prime Minister, and most of these are creating opportunities, will create opportunities at the school level, at the college level, at the institute level, because the formal infrastructure of R&D and innovation we don't have in the industry. industry academia interface will have to be strengthened and be made broad based so that can be harnessed in the labs of the schools, in the experimentation grounds of the villages and the fields. And then we have productive agriculture, we have better conservation of soil, we have better conservation of water, better utilization, and then we have recycling technology. So you see, we are talking about water, we are talking about agriculture, we are talking about residue crop reuse. You see, even the waste recycling. Then supply chain management. Lot of our agriculture produce gets wasted because we don't have cold chain, because we don't have proper supply chain facilities. So so basically it becomes a disincentive for the farmers to produce food, which becomes a waste. Agro processing, value addition, bio. So you see, the Honorable Prime Minister has identified these many sectors which are either water or agriculture, and they are all very, very relevant to a B class, C class town and rural economy. It is only through revival of rural economy the India can grow. And that is where it is by value addition a farmer can become rich. You know, our GDP, our basically total economy depends on a monsoon. Monsoon means happiness of the farmer. But yesteryear's fast farmer, he worked with very poor levels of technology. Now there's a lot of happening in technological field which is aiding the growth of agriculture. Apart from that, now let us see what are the other areas. Then you see here disaster management, UAV, using technology to manage the disasters, alternatives for plastic, environment, water, sanitation, basic recycling, energy efficiency, management of e-waste, renewable, infrastructure, technology, prevention, etc., etc. So you see, here the Prime Minister has identified if this country has to become Atma Nirbhar, it has to focus on water, agriculture, sanitation, health, recycling, reuse, electronics, and computers. Technology, 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 basic sectors of economy. That is how our villages will become rich, our B-class town people will become rich. That is how the people who are at the bottom of the pyramid, they will become affluent and the country will become affluent. It has to be a bottoms-up approach, not a top-down approach, which has been the story so far. And naturally, affluence cannot be made by giving subsidy and feeding poor at the cost of the state on the food taxation. You have to generate surplus, you have to earn your living, and that is what is the Atma Samman I told you in the few of the beginning of my slides. And Atma Samman and Atma Nirbhar Nagrik is the one who has got a self-respect, who actually wants to produce in excess of his capacity a surplus for the society, and only within societies become abundantly affluent. Here again, the technologies which are going to get a focus in days to come are the technologies which are going to conserve the energy and save our climate. So then what are they? Capturing the wind, solar energy, electricity from oceans, combined heat and power, IGCC, electric cars, capturing carbon, soil, forest, biochar. Now you see, it's all about this slide and this slide and this slide. It's all about protecting the climate, water, earth, regenerating our soil, harnessing the energy, less from the soil fossil fuel, more from the resources like these. And these are the technologies of the future, in which entrepreneurial opportunity, technological opportunity, innovation opportunities will be there. Now, when people and technology come together, transformations, revolutions are created. And some technologies, as I told you, that if we define the agriculture of the past at agriculture 4.1.0, today agriculture 4.0 will be possible with the help of these 5, 6 technologies: artificial intelligence, blockchain. And that's the reason you must have seen and you must have read. There are a lot of people with very high qualification. They are dumping, rejecting their jobs and trying to become a farmer. Either they are educating the farmers or themselves becoming a farmer. They do not want to do farming with the pair of oxen and the old technology. They want to bring all this technology. I know many people in Israel and all the places. I have maybe someday when I would get a chance to interact with you, I will also have a webinar presentation on past, present, and future of agriculture. But I can tell you, this technology, these 5 steps technology, computer vision, fog computing, 5th-generation network, Internet of Things, blockchain, artificial intelligence, they are going to change the face of this universe. The decade here onwards, the time here onwards is going to be a transformation of the entire globe through technology. Conserving the climate, conserving the soil, enhancing the agricultural productivity, and protecting the health of the people. This is what is going to drive the global affluence and prosperity which has been eluding us for long. I just want to give you an overview of the challenges that our economy faces. Now, it is a slide which may be interest of you that, you know, if we divide our economy into broad categories, so there are cottage industries, MSMEs, there are labor and street vendor, middle class, and industry. Now you see, if we look, we have a lot of challenges. I mean, if you talk about rural, there are 32.49 million cottage industries, but support system is missing. They do not have understanding of the ground realities. Forget the solution. Skill and labor productivity are the major issues. Finance is not available. Marketing is not much of interest. Now, I think all these problems a government cannot solve on its own. It requires more active participation from the citizenry and citizens. This would happen only when the citizens are ambitious, they want to participate, they feel it is their duty to bring a transformation in the society. They need to ask themselves a question what they can do. And certainly, this can only be done by those citizens who have a desire to become Atma Nirbhar, who have a desire to basically contribute, who have a desire to become entrepreneur, who have a desire and ambition to become a job creator rather than a job seeker. And I can tell you with a guarantee and confidence, all governments in the past, and this government particularly, has been working for quite some time to build that ecosystem. The latest example in that regard is our new education policy 2020, which has been a basically revolutionary rethinking on how we should be educated. That has been done with the objective of making our people more skilled to undertake the challenges of industry, entrepreneurship at the levels of cottage, MSME, and I think then promote the overall economic prosperity in the country. If I talk about MSMEs, MSMEs have always received a basically stepmotherly treatment at the hands of the government, at the banking system. They have not been supported. Whereas the fact is, 97% of enterprises in most of the prosperous countries come from the MSME sector. In India too, they make a substantial contribution more than the large sectors in terms of employment, in terms of exports and manufacturing. But still, so only when a large number of people will come forward, they will come with basic ideas, we can actually find a cost-effective solutions for the economy, for the people. If you look, there are 127 million households. Now you see, these are the opportunities. Migrant workers, you know, they actually are the challenges, and only when a large number of people want to become entrepreneur, they can address this problem because they will create a job. 127 million households. They need continuous employment, continuous skilling. Now, this cannot be done by just few large enterprises. There have to be multiple small enterprises at all levels, at the village level, at city level, at maybe Kasba level, town level. So industry has to be dotting everywhere. It has to be there everywhere. Middle class, high middle class is just 8 million. So can you understand the ratio? 13, 1300 million and 8 million. And rest of it all coming into this labor. So our country is still is stricken by poverty. Let us not try to fool ourselves by accepting technical definitions given by the government and the economists that BPL is this and BPL is that. We have to really understand that what is a self-respect, what is a dignified living. Are we having a dignified living for ourselves, or can we provide that dignified living to the people who are associated, close and working for us? And now the Nagrik who asked this question, in my opinion, is the Nagrik who wants to become Atma Nirbhar. Large industries, they have been there, they have contributed a lot, but there have been problems too. They have been very much resistant to the idea of technology, productivity, upgradation, technology. But I can tell you, if MSME is revived, as has been promised in the recent package of Atma Nirbhar Abhiyan, you can go and see my presentation and my webinar on Atma Nirbhar MSME and all of the previous ones. You will understand what I'm talking. You will get a better understanding of the subject that I have raised. It's a continuous. And I wish that someday we actually get together and try to understand this subject even better. So what we propose to do? We propose to facilitate a circular and self-reliant economy in the villages and the non-metro cities by promoting the principle and Atma Nirbhar Nagrik is the basic building block of an Atma Nirbhar Bharat. And Atma Nirbhar Nagrik is the basic building block of an Atma Nirbhar Bharat. This principle we have to internalize, accept and promote at all levels. I am trying to do through this webinar at my level. I hope it goes further and forward from here. We believe a citizen can become an Atma Nirbhar Nagrik if he or she pursues entrepreneurship. Through this, we aim to encourage, promote and facilitate the creation of an Atma Nirbhar village and a local economy. And if a village and a local economy becomes Atma Nirbhar, certainly India, and then only India can become Atma Nirbhar. We will have an Atma Nirbhar Bharat. How we wish to do is, basically, we are basically a consortium of agencies. We are a consortium of people coming from academia, industry, from technology. We have got industry experience, entrepreneurial experience. So what we have decided, we are making a proposal to the government that we will basically promote this. We will help people become entrepreneurs with the use of various schemes the government has come up with. So what we will do is we will identify, interact, evaluate people who want to become entrepreneurs. We will conduct workshop and seminars for them. We will design a project. We will do a hand holding and mentoring for them. And after doing this, we will do a screening. Say, suppose there are 100 people. Out of 100 people, we would like to identify 10 people who can be mentored. And those people, they will give a project. We will go to the bank. We will talk to the bank and we will say, look, here is the scheme. These people will be helped by us. And we will basically tell them, look, this is the project for which raw material, market, everything is locally available. Something like, biofertilizers, which can be made by using the bio waste, biogas, maybe food processing in all the focus sector that the government, Prime Minister has identified. And then this is how we will convince the bank that we are creating a viable project. Bank should have no problem in financing because there are professional people and we will do the hand holding. Then finally, we will do the project execution. We will coordinate with all the stakeholders. We will do the training and mentoring of the entrepreneur. We will basically have a marketing and repayment plan. And then, you see, the thing is, what shall we achieve? We will start achieving conceptual awareness of Atmanirbharta at the local level. We will achieve more and more people will become now aware of the government schemes and support. We will strengthen the rural and local economy, and that's how an Atmanirbhar village will be created, Atmanirbhar Nagrik will be built, Atmanirbhar Bharat will be created. Friends, I feel this is the last chance for us. It is now or never, for the simple reason. As I have told you in my last slide, in my first slide, let's just have a look. Our challenges and complexities are immense. And this has been by far the most unfortunate one. In last 40 years, after the liberalization of economy, we became more and more trading economy. We became less of a manufacturing economy. So much so that even small items, are you aware that just in Raksha Bandhan, we were importing about 4,000 crore worth Rakhis from China, which used to be made here? In India, in last 20, 25, 30 years, people who were manufacturers have become a traders and a super trader. And this is what China wanted. The whole world should become dependent. Today, China is showing its aggression on the borders, and also we are dependent on them for very critical inputs. If at this time, if we do not break away from dependence on China, I think we will be having a very major threat, and perhaps we would not be able to come out of that dependence ever. Atmanirbhar India will become a dream forever. It will not become a reality. If Atmanirbhar India has to become a reality, it can only become a reality through an Atmanirbhar Nagrik who has to have entrepreneurial ambitions and duties. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. If you want to have information about us, you can go and visit our websites www.new.gsbsonline.in, CSD Plus, it is there. More details you can write. And thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Thank you for listening this. And any kind of a doubts you have, you can just a sec. Any doubts you have, you can write to GS Madhusudan, gsbusiness.madhusudan@gmail.com. You can write to us. And also csdrjv@gmail.com, and we can also visit www.gsbsonline.in, or we can also visit sda.org.in/CSD for the doubts. In fact, this is the fourth of its series. As we have presented, you have the CSD YouTube channel also, which you can view webinars also. You can understand our ideology, and we are here to support you. So with this, we are ending the first one, and we'll be proceeding with the second one, that is an